Good evening, everyone. This is Chris around the ATL. It is Monday. It's almost August. Can't believe that, right? And this is usually where I almost did it. I almost called out the phone number for when we used to do the call in version of our show. Hopefully, we can get back to that soon as I can figure out a good format to be able to pull that off. But tonight, I want to go ahead and get into it because I got a couple of shows I'm going to record tonight. This first one is in regards to somebody who's still playing in the NBA after all these years, LeBron James. Now, for those who are Atlanta Hawks fans, why will this matter? Does it matter? We're going to talk about it a little bit tonight. Now, if you remember back in the day, it did matter because there were a particular playoff series that we were swept in something called the Eastern Conference Finals. And then what happened the next year? We were swept out the playoffs again by the same team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, with LeBron James being featured. And of course, in the Eastern Conference, 4 straight years that team won the East, right? 4 straight years they won the East. Two of them were championship seasons. So now, a lot of people will say, well, LeBron James, he don't got that much left in the tank. It ain't going to really matter. It does appear like, Sixers are stacking the deck and everything. But is that really true? It's going to be, it will have some truth to it. But of course, there's a lot of factors that go into that, right? The coaching staff, how do you play everybody, right? Who gets the minutes? The bench that they have, which again, you can look at this bench and be like, yeah, I'm not too really, worried about this bench, but you can win without the best bench in the world. You just have to have a few people do a little bit. It just means the starters have a lot of responsibility to always produce. And it's possible. We've seen it in the past with some teams. We're able to do that. And of course, it, depends on the health of the players. Joel Embiid, sticks out. Again, LeBron James is going into age 42 playing ball at this kind of level. See, if this was anything else, this would not be that big of a deal. 24th season in the NBA he's going into, but it's the level that he's able to play at. And that's what we're going to talk about first. So last year with the Lakers, this person, this player, this young man, old man, whatever you want to call him, averaged 21 points a game, 20.9 in the NBA. The NBA, right? He averaged 7 rebounds a game. No, my bad. Hold on. Make sure I get it right. He averaged 7 assists, which is higher than, off the top of my head, it's higher than almost anybody. That's higher than a lot of people, isn't it? Right? He averaged 6 rebounds, right? He shot 73% from the free throw line. He's never been the greatest free throw shooter in his career. That's basically his average, okay? He shot, where is it at? 31% from 3, rounded up 32% from 3. He's never been a great three-point shooter either. He had 1 year where he shot 40%. That's the highest he shot before, okay? Well, he's 34%, 35% for his career. He shot 51% from the floor, okay? And in his later years, he's actually shot 50% or more a lot, actually. So 51%, actually he shot 51% the last 2 seasons. 40 and 41 years old. So he can still get buckets. He might not be the greatest shooter, but he can score. He's always been more of a scorer, but there's a couple of shots that he can hit. He can hit a straight up jumper. You can't just let him shoot it necessarily. But if you put him in bad positions, he's not going to hit the funky shots, though. He's not that kind of shooter. He has to be straight up, dead on, and he can hit that shot all day. He played 33 minutes a game last year, y'all. He played 60 games for the entire season. So no, he did not play 75 or anything like that. Now, the year before that, he played 70. The year before that, he played 71. But then the couple years, the last few years, he played 45, 56, and 54. So are we going to get that LeBron James in the East? Okay. Right? So those are some things to think about. Now, at what level can he play in this 24th season? Can he play well enough to be named an all-star? Maybe for the final time? Not sure. He got MVP candidate votes last year and clutch player of the year. The year before that, I should say, in 2024. I don't think he'll be able to do that just because of who's going to be on his team around him, but you never know. He might be that catalyst. Remember what I just say? He's averaging 7 assists a game. He's averaging 7 assists for his career as a player. Okay. What position will he play? I'm not sure. That's going to be another thing that's going to come into this. You would think he's going to play small forward, but let's look at the Sixers roster and just name some of these players here, okay? That's on the roster. So they got a rookie in LeBron James, 6'4", Alabama. Got Tyrese Maxey, of course, 28 points a game last season. You got Anthony Simons, who can score 14 points a game. You know he'll be coming off the bench. Got Jaylen Brown coming over as an MVP candidate, 28 points a game. This team can score some points. This is just 3 people straight out of his name that can all get buckets, right? Then you got Caleb Love. He's only been in the league 1 year, but he gave you 10 points a game off the bench last year. You got Justin Edwards, 2 years in the league, 6'7", 6 points a game. You got Rayan Rupert, who's going to be on the team. Don't know much about him. Marjon Beauchamp, he's been in the league 4 years, averaging about 7 points a game at his position. Of course, you got Joel Embiid, who averaged 26 a game last year. Barely played, but he was averaging 26, actually 26.9. You got Johnny Broome from Auburn. Didn't play a lot last year. We'll see what happens this year. He's 6'9". Of course, you got LeBron James, again, 21 points a game last year. You got Dominic Barlow, the great Dominic Barlow for Hawks fans. So dominant, right? They got Adam Bona at center as their backup, basically. 5 and 4, basically. They got Jabari Walker. They got Dean Wade. Okay. Ariel Huck-Porty. Don't know anything about him. He's 7 foot. And then you got VJ Edgecombe, of course, averaged 16 points a game last year. And then you got Tyrese Martin, former Hawk. He averaged 6 points a game last year. So that is their roster as of the moment. Don't know if there's going to be any changes. So it really will kind of depend on, like I said, do you try to, I've said personally, just for the outside looking in, bring LeBron James off the bench. Maximize him as a veteran. Maximize him as a player that off the bench, he can handle the ball all he wants to because he's the one coming off the bench. Let him be their distributor off the bench. And then you can play him in the fourth quarter type of a deal, right? You can do it like that. Or you can start him and start him. I mean, I just don't see how they would. It would be tough, power forward. Because I would think, you'd have Jaylen Brown as your small forward, right? Again, and this is taking into consideration, Joel is going to be playing, right? So if you got Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Joel Embiid, right? And then you got Maxey and VJ. I mean, that's a pretty tough lineup. But again, if they start like that, who's coming out? Who's going to be replacing LeBron James off their bench? Who's replacing Jaylen Brown off their bench? When you kind of say it like that, you don't have a lot. Dean Wade, I guess, will get some minutes in there. More so as him being the veteran, right? But who else? Like, if Bona is going to be their backup center to, Joel, like, who else? I mean, it's slim pickings as far as we don't know what these guys are going to do just yet. And none of them have any kind of proven numbers to make you think, okay, this is going to be, world beaters. But again, you're only talking about a few minutes that you need out of these guys, and the whole starting. It's not like the whole starting lineup's coming off the bench at the same time either, right? At least you shouldn't. So you're talking about stair stepping now a little bit, right? You're going to keep Maxey out there for a while with some of the second team players. You're going to keep Maxey and Jaylen Brown or Maxey and LeBron out there for a minute. You're not going to bring Joel into. That's where coaching comes in. Guess what? They got a NBA World Championship coach. I think he'll be able to figure that out. But some of these players will have a chance to really prove themselves, right? Tyrese Martin will have a real shot. Who else? Johnny Broom will have a chance to prove himself a little bit, right? Whether it be Caleb Love, who did average 10 points a game last year. Beaucamp, average 7. Simons definitely is going to be their sixth man, basically, though, for all intents and purposes, if, when it comes down to that. But that's the only reason I said, maybe, have LeBron come off the bench, possibly, let him be sixth man of the year, possibly, but I don't know who they would start in his stead, though. That's the only thing. Like, who would you start at power forward if you don't start LeBron James there? Or do you play small and have Jaylen Brown at power forward, which would make sense to me just because of who's in the league, right? But it's going to be interesting just on that part. Now, as far as the Hawks go, and I mentioned this before on Around the ATL, Philadelphia finished one game behind the Atlanta Hawks in the standings a year ago, and that was with Joel Embiid and PG-13 missing most of the season. And I harken back again to that last Philadelphia game that the Hawks did beat Philly, but again, it was one of those teams where they didn't have their best players. We beat them, but in this case, we barely beat Philly. We gave up 116 points. Who gave up the 116 points, may I ask? Where Maxey was there, Quentin Grimes, and Kelly Oubre. Quentin Grimes scored 26. Kelly Oubre scored 24. Who was on the Hawks stopping these guys? Nobody ever wants to say anything. I'm told, well, that don't matter. Defense don't matter, Chris. When does defense matter? But anyway, that Philadelphia team finished one game behind the Hawks in the standings. So you put Jaylen Brown on that team, and then right after that, you put LeBron James on that team. You put 2 All-NBA, multiple-time All-Star, ring-wearing players on a team that does have Maxey, that does have Joel Embiid, and that does have VJ Escombe. So how do the Hawks fall? Because you're not moving up, right? Right? Come on now, y'all. Because again, I like the moves that we made, but it doesn't trump those 2 moves right there. It just doesn't. Now, we might only fall one spot below Philly and be in 7th, but that, again, puts us in the play-in all of a sudden now, right? And depending on what kind of start the Philadelphia 76ers might get, I mean, again, this is going, again, what did I say? What happened last year is not sustainable. We're not going to have a streak where we're going to play like 10 or 11 teams that are either 40 lost teams or missing all of their best players. We're not going to have a streak like that again, back-to-back seasons. It's not going to happen. It just isn't. And remember, we lost 13 games between December 27th and February 20th. Okay, remember that. Again, those 13 losses, if they were wins, we're a 59-win team. Okay, so LeBron James coming back to the Eastern Conference also is going to affect all the other teams and what they were going to do with their lineups to make sure that, hey, we have to get somebody who can play LeBron James. Because remember, LeBron James might be older, but he ain't decrepit. He keeps himself in shape. No, he doesn't play 70 games a year, but the games he does play, he plays at full tilt speed still. He can do it. We've seen him do it. We've seen him on TV. He averaged 21 points a game. Somebody has to stop him from scoring 21 points a game. Now, will he get enough shots? Let's see how many shots he put up last year. He put up 15 shots a game last year. Okay. Will he get 15 shots a game now? I doubt it. I don't see how that would be possible with Jaylen Brown and Maxey and VJ and Joel. His shots are going to come down. At least they should. Because he's not going to be the main player. But again, we'll see what happens. But he was putting up 15 shots a game last year for the Lakers. The year before that, 18 a game. He's had some seasons where he's put 22, a couple of times 22, but not a lot. But he's averaging around 18, 19 shots a game. Last year was the least amount of shots he's ever taken in his career, actually. His whole career. 15 shots a game last year. But again, they're not going to have to rely on him as a bona fide scorer because of who they have. But the thing is, he can score. If they got, mouse in their house, LeBron James can post. He don't even really have to post up. He's just going to get the ball and just score. He's never really been a post-up player, but when you're just bigger than everybody, that's going to matter, right? And again, I've always said, let's pull this up real quick. Let me see if I can do this on the fly. Let's see. Is this it right here? This might be it. Oh wow, this is okay. That's too much. That's too much information there. I can't do that. Oh, there it is right there. This is what I need. No, this is the same thing. Oh, there it is. So let me ask y'all something. Who's been guarding LeBron James his whole career for the Atlanta Hawks? In the 2 decades that he's been playing basketball, who's been guarding him? And since 2018, who has he been guarding? Who's been guarding LeBron James, I should say? Because he's averaged 27.6 points, 8 rebounds, 7.5 assists. Show me all the footage of that player that don't play with the Hawks no more guarding LeBron James. It's his job to stop LeBron James. It's his job to stop LeBron James. Show it to me. I want someone to show it to me. But LeBron James averaging 27 against the Hawks. Is he going to come with Philadelphia and then average 27 against the Hawks anyway, even though you got Joel and Edgecombe and Maxey and Jaylen Brown? He's still going to come and score 26 points against the Hawks anyway in Atlanta? We're going to let that happen? Who's guarding him? That's all I'm saying. Okay? And that's why I'm bringing this up. Because with Philadelphia being as talent-laden as they are, this is just one of the moves this year that's happened in the East, right? But it's a pretty big one because, again, everybody sees this now. And they look at Pistons are going to come down, but they're not going to come down all the way, right? They won a lot of games without Cade last year, right? Cade is back, but now Tobias is not there anymore, right? but they're not going to fall all the way down. Cleveland was the runner-up in the East. They were the official second-best team in the Eastern Conference, by the way. Okay? They're not going to fall down. They didn't really make a lot of moves, but they're not going to fall down. They still got a pretty good team, right? Toronto, the Hawks didn't beat Toronto. Couldn't beat them for nothing. Who was on the roster at that point in time? Everybody. Couldn't beat them, no matter who was on the roster. Couldn't beat them, right? Celtics aren't going to just have a precipitous drop. They're just not. Sorry, Jason Tatum is really good at basketball, okay? So again, all those teams that were above us, they're not just going to fall out of the sky or anything like that. And we got to try to hold off the teams that were behind us. Again, you got Philly, but you also had Miami. They're going to be better with Giannis there now, right? I've mentioned all this before. So again, with just LeBron James being there, it's going to definitely have a lot of focus on all these teams in the East and what they do, minutes played, rotations, things of that nature. There's going to be a lot of coaching to figure out how do you limit what LeBron James is good at enough to try to beat them on a regular basis. And this is going to be hard. Again, he averages 7 assists a game for his career. Okay, now, if they minimize his minutes, especially at the beginning of the season, he won't be as effective because he won't have the ball as much. So that probably can help out, because think about that. LeBron James on a team where, guess what? He has a real post-up threat in Joel Embiid all of a sudden. He has two scorers in Maxey and Jaylen Brown. And then you got VJ Edgecombe. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot right there. And LeBron had 7 assists last year with the team that he had last year. Oh, and don't forget Simons, right? So I just don't see, is it going to be hard? It's going to be hard. Because I'm thinking about the defense again. Who are we going to stop? Who's going to stop Joel? Because when Joel plays, he's still 26 a game. Who was playing Joel Embiid last year, y'all? Oh, well, that's right. We didn't get a chance to play him, I don't think. But what about the other years? Who's playing them then? Who's playing them in 2021 playoffs? Anybody want to gander? Show me all the footage of that short person that no longer plays here playing Joel Embiid and stopping him because he was supposed to, right? I'm just throwing it out there again because we have all these bigs in the league that supposedly calling for screens. And it just, you can't show me the game film of that. Just saying. So with the Philadelphia 76ers as being one of the teams we got to worry about now, because again, here are the standings. I'm going to pull this up real quick before I get off of here. Last year, this is how the season ended, right? Could have ended different, especially if we didn't sit our players game 82. We would have been the 5th seed, but we chose not to do that. Actually, technically, I don't think we couldn't have been the 5th seed because we wouldn't have had a tiebreaker, so never mind. But still. Actually, yeah, we would have lost a tiebreaker because of wins. But like I said, the 76ers finished behind the Hawks, right? Orlando, I forgot about Orlando. Orlando's going to be better. You got Vucevic in there, 20 and 10 guy. Who stops Vucevic when they play? Whenever he plays, who's playing Vucevic? There was a Chicago Bulls game a few years ago for the play-in, and I showed y'all, this is what Vucevic scored in this game. And I showed you shot for shot how he scored. There is no footage of the short person guarding Vucevic. Of course, the Charlotte Hornets are toast because they kind of just did their whole team for no reason. They were right behind us as well. They were only 2 games behind us. Again, like I said, the Miami Heat, they're going to be better. Now, I don't know what the Bucks are going to do. I don't know about the Bulls. Pacers, though, are going to be back because they're going to have both Zubac and Halliburton, the rest of that team there. And yes, I think Washington Wizards have a shot to flip a lot of those losses into wins just because they got Anthony Davis. If he plays 50, 60 games, that's going to be a team that you have to compete against because everybody else that's on that team. Got the #1 draft pick. They got Sarr, who had a really good season last year. Of course, you got Trae Young there. That's a team that you got to pay attention to. You got people who can hit shots, finish at the basket. And then you got Sarr and Anthony Davis to be able to play defense. And then you got the #1 draft pick who has just these long arms. He's going to be doing stuff, right? So they can move up. Okay, so that's another little consideration. So if anything, you think Charlotte and the Bucks will drop out of the 9th and 11th spot that they were last year. So that gives 2 other teams a chance to come up. And more than likely, that'll be Indiana and the Washington Wizards. Now, the Bulls, they're I would say they're a dark horse a little bit just because of their makeup. But again, the Pistons, Boston, the Knicks, Cleveland, the Toronto Raptors, all above us. And then right behind us, Philadelphia, Orlando, the Heat, Pacers, and the Wizards. So let's just say we drop below 76ers just by default. Although, like I said, I think the 76ers on paper would be better than Toronto. On paper, I believe they're better than the Cavs just because of Harden. So that puts them at least top 4 possibly, right? With LeBron James being on the team, playing 50, 60 games or so, right? It's only an 82-game schedule. Their goal is going to be to get Joel Embiid available for the playoffs because that's what, again, it won't matter. None of this will matter if they don't make the playoffs and don't advance in the playoffs. It'll just be all for naught. Although he did sign a 2-year contract, whatever, right? But Philadelphia is a contending team, at least in the Eastern Conference, just by getting Jaylen Brown. Now getting LeBron James, it puts them in a position that they haven't been in a long time. Remember, they basically kind of had to retool after getting knocked out the 2021 playoffs. That team has never really been the same, right? So they got a lot to do still. Or they're making up for all that now. This is one of those situations where they said, we're going to do what's necessary to win a championship. This is it. We're going all out. And this is why a lot of people out there are looking at this and it's like, LeBron James signed a contract for $8 million. What was it that was the tipping point, so to speak, for him to go there rather than all these other teams that he could have went to? $8 million? So it wasn't about the money, obviously, because he could have demanded that. Now, of course, he's made all the money in the world. He's a billionaire and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't need the money. And I kind of figured that. At the end of the day, he wasn't going to be asking for no $51 million a year at 42 years old. That's just not reasonable anymore, right? He's made all the money. So what was it about Philadelphia? Was it Jaylen Brown? Was it getting a chance to play with Joel Embiid, one of the best centers in the game? Was it playing with these young cats and Edgecombe and Maxey compared to what he was playing with over there in LA, right? Maybe that was it. Is it playing in Philadelphia? Again, I just never seen any attachment to the city of Philadelphia before. So that threw me off more so than anything. And then I'm hearing he's going to live in New York and he's going to commute to Philly. And I'm like, man, that just don't sound safe. Every game, that's just a lot. I know he got some money to do it, but that just seems like a lot rather than just living in Philly. Game day, 45-minute helicopter ride, and then getting dressed and everything. I don't know. We'll see. But LeBron James is in the East now. And again, the Hawks have a history of playing LeBron James over the years and year after year. Again, in LA, look, think about this. In LA, he was averaging 25 points a game, 7 assists, almost 8 assists actually, 7 boards, shooting 35% from three and 51% from the field. So twice a year, who was guarding LeBron James? Can anybody tell me why? LeBron James has been playing in LA since the 2018 season. So twice a season, who was playing LeBron James in 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25? Who's playing LeBron James? Can we get somebody to stop LeBron James just one time, or at least can match his output? Because I've always said, right, if you can't stop somebody, you need to be able to score. And if you can't score, you got to be able to stop somebody. But it can't be neither. Of course, you would love it to be both, but that's not everybody in the NBA. Clint Capella could rebound, but he couldn't score. But he could rebound pretty good. And overall, defensively, he wasn't horrible, except one-on-one. What centers could he really stop? It is what it is. He was better when he had John Collins out there because both of them were pretty decent at help defense at that point, right? And remember, Clint's first year in Atlanta, he was 15 and 14, 15 points a game, 14 rebounds a game, 2 blocks. That was the last we saw of that for the rest of his career in Atlanta. If we had got that every year, we're talking a whole different ball game, aren't we? Just with Clint, right? But who was stopping LeBron James? Who was slowing him down at least? Like, there's players out there who stop LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, right? So where was our Kawhi Leonard at? Oh, anyway, LeBron James, a multiple-time MVP candidate, has won the MVP 4 times, right? Multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time first-team All-NBA, and I still don't really know how he's getting on these defensive teams, but whatever. Let's see. Let's take a look. He has 0.7 blocks and 1.5 steals for his career. You'd think he'd be a better shot blocker at his size, technically, right? He should be at like 2 a game, his size-wise, but hey, whatever. 3.5 turnovers a night. Y'all don't care about turnovers, though, do you? Anyway, that's LeBron James. Again, he's in the Eastern Conference again. He's going to be at least here 1 more year, apparently. And like I told people, Philadelphia kind of has to win the championship, don't they? Because if they don't win the championship, then like, what was it all for? To make these 2 splash moves like this? But again, nothing is guaranteed. You still got to play the ball game on the court. It ain't on paper. Joel still has to play all the games. LeBron has to play as many games as he can, right? Jaylen Brown has to hit his shots. Maxey has to hit his shots. But I just told you. Last year, Maxey, 28 points, 6 assists, 4 boards. Simons, 14 points a game. Jaylen Brown, 28 points, 7 boards, 5 assists. Edgecombe, 16 points a game, 5 boards. I mean, they do some stuff. I'm just saying. And again, if they can figure out how to utilize LeBron James, you know, Philadelphia's going to be pretty tough. Again, Joel Embiid, 26, 27, because it rounds out 26.9, 7 rebounds. It's going to be tough, y'all. And remember, Joel Embiid can pass the ball too. He has another person now. If LeBron James is cutting down the lane, guess who's a good passer out the post? Joel Embiid. How come we don't have nobody who can pass out the post, right? I suggested it should be Jalen Johnson. We could do high post or low post, but we never saw that because our coach just said, no, just shoot threes. Hart is locking up Jalen. Just shoot threes. Shoot some more threes. So let's see what LeBron James does in the East, at least for this first year. He signed for 2 years. I just don't see it viable that he does another year and play. Maybe his goal has been to play 25 years in the NBA. And if he comes to Philly, his workload will be enough he could be effective, but not so much that he'll break down. And maybe that's his goal. He's going to play 25 years in the NBA and then retire. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, though. But that's my LeBron James take. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and get ready to do this. I got another episode I'm going to record. If you get a chance to see it, it has everything to do about the Hawks roster. Now, I have a past episode where I've done this before, but I'm going to do it again, kind of update it a little bit. But this is about the Hawks roster, so definitely tune into that. But in the meantime, make sure you look at games 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Hawks versus Knicks 2026 playoff series. Games 5 and Game 6 are coming soon, probably by the end of this week, because you need to see what exactly happened out there on that floor. Because what some people are saying is just not true. I like to talk about facts when it comes to the Hawks, okay? So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully y'all have a great evening. And let's set this up properly here before I get out of here. And there we go. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Peace.
Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect, around the